the treasurer's and treasurer's absence, I ask you to turn your electronic devices on vibrate or another, yes, not treasurer, because treasurer's here. Whatever, silent, whatever those things are that don't ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Questions, comments, concerns regarding the May and June treasury report? Once again, questions, comments, concerns, May and June treasury report. Hearing none, I move that the report be accepted as given. All in favor of said motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
I'd like to make an announcement about the school board candidate forum that was held September 25th at East High School. The forum was wonderful. We had all 6 candidates there. We had a very nice turnout. And TV 2023 emceed the show. And there was audience participation. And food, and it was just a wonderful affair. Judge Piper attended. The mayor sent a representative to the event to speak on behalf of issues 50 and 51 was to encourage people to vote on issue 51. And there was some of that, of course, against issue 51, but I encourage you to get much information as you can about those issues before you make a decision. But it was a nice event.
David Lester.
I have questions about issues 50 and 51, and I can't figure it out from the materials they're sending me. Is the teachers' union itself taking a position on those issues that you're aware of?
I don't know. I think
Does anybody
I
know?
was contacted the committee.
Yeah.
For and again, they can make a,
Yeah,
you know.
it's definitely controversial from what you're
Yeah, it
saying.
really is.
Okay.
Monetarily, and because of what I hear some people feel about what happened with the old budget, and why we need new money, and why can't you work with, budget that you had prior to, and the taxes that it makes. So
Well,
I would,
I may have it wrong, but I got a phone survey at home, and they asked me questions, and for me, charter schools are kind of an issue versus public schools. And I noticed all the campaign lift I got was kind of covering up that, so I think it is controversial. I'd like to know what the unions think about it before we vote. So.
candidates were awful.
Yeah, interesting in itself, including Governor Strickland, former Governor
But I think
Strickland.
because of the target, he is more.
Yeah. Okay,
I
thanks
don't
for,
know, all the ins and outs.
it's interesting, I'm glad you brought it up.
Questions? Reports?
I would just like to make a special congratulations on the marriage of our member, Samuel Nathan. And I want to applaud you for his marriage. I'll probably show you a picture after of the wedding afterwards.
then we'll have the minutes we presented to you. September, July, and August. All right, from the executive board. September, start with September. We have completed 2 contracts. Negotiations for those 2 contracts took place over this summer. In August and September, we completed 2 of them. One of them being Pickaway County Jobs and Family Services. They secured a 2-year contract with a 1-year reopening. One being the Ohio State Faculty Club, securing a 3-year contract with pay raises of, I think, 2% across the board. Now, they had a pay scale that once you reach the top of that pay scale, you got nothing. And so what we've done for the county, for the faculty club is, the new provision is that once you reach the pay scale or extend it over it, anytime during this new 3-year period, you get a 1% of whatever your base is, period. So before you got nothing. Now you get a cash kind of bonus for every year above your pay. And so that was an improvement in their contract. They still maintain the same insurance policy. That policy has the club pay for your deductibles and the insurance. It's a little better and a little more amenable to your pocket than the contract that we have even for insurance. They used to have insurance provided by Ohio State, but it was too expensive for the club, to pay the club's half. So we went to a different kind of setup. So they seem to be particularly happy with that, particularly happy with the 2% raise. And now that the people who've been there 20 and above years can surpass their pay top without raising the top. So it seems like an easy deal. It's cheap for the club, and a member does not work without a raise anymore. So that happened for the faculty club. For Pickaway County, those members had not had a pay raise for about 5 years. They had the lowest insurance rate in the county, and at one point they traded off getting a pay raise to keep their insurance rate low, or their copay. So this year, after 5 years of that copay not changing at all, not by percentage or money, just no change, we conceded to a raise in that, and they received a 2% raise, and they're reopening their 3rd year to find out what insurance is going to do. A lot of the units, the smaller units, this bigger unit should be affected as well, are affected regarding the Affordable Care Act. And so they're still trying to figure out as a county what they're going to do and how they're going to manage it and who's going to get it and not get it. But until then, they enjoy a pay raise, and that contract goes through the September of, I think, 2016. And then in 2017, we negotiate a pay and the benefits again. So we have those 2 locked down. We did that during the summer, really August and September. During that other period of time, you know that we no longer have tile on the floor. What we've gone to and what was authorized by the executive board is to get a bid for the floor. We don't want tile anymore. This floor will stay water resistant, shiny, whole, won't present trip hazards, cracks, and all that kind of stuff for the next 20 years. Supposedly, it's almost indestructible. It is not the prettiest floor in America. And we may do something about changing that, but it is functional and it is in line with the rest of the building. The building's over 100 years old, it's brick and that kind of crap, and so down does the floor. So we're really kind of satisfied with it. We think it'll be structurally better. It is the low bid, and after we've seen the finished job, Kevin, executive VP, says to me, you know, you don't take low bid all the time. We had a bid of $20,000 for the floor. The board kind of decided that's too much. It was nature stone. We had a bid of $8,000. it's a little bit out of our budget. We were really kind of given a budget of about $5,000. This floor was $6,000. So between 20 and 6, and the fact that we could have probably for $5 gotten tile put down, but that seems so temporary to us and not really in our vision of what to do. We want other administrations, whoever's here, whatever's here, they don't have to worry about the floor. They can put their thoughts and money and interest on other things. And, you know, you may not believe the sort of kind of controversy it is to pick up a contractor and decide a color and all that stuff on just the floor. But it's a little complicated. And so now we're done, and we think it'll be fine. We're going to change out the carpet pieces so that they'll be more durable for weather and that kind of thing. And that'll be just about it. So that happened today. This month, the floor was done. So in June we talked about it, and in September we got it done. Now we, Wayne Crawford, Cynthia Stewart, Kevin Key, and myself broke up, stripped up in Miracle Lawn, wherever she is, Miracle Lawn. We broke up that tile, scraped up that tile, carried that tile back to the dumpster, and dumped it, just saved money on the entire project. So the executive board, those members particularly, helped to bring that cost down to $6,000. And so I want you to give them a hand clap of appreciation for that effort. It's hard work. And Cynthia didn't break a nail. But she was in there just like a trooper. What is that? Like construction, demolition, actually, what it is. May had volunteered and did feed us with some of her world famous chicken wings. So we took a break and ate some of those, but it took about what, 2 weeks, Kevin? We rented some equipment, a tile scraper that we got from Murray's equipment rental. And so we were able to keep the cost down to about $6,200. And we think that otherwise it had been in at 8 and 10. So we kept it down as far as money is concerned. So that's another thing that occurred over the summer. Over the summer, Kevin and I attended a training on so-called right to work. Because although SB 5 was defeated soundly by a lot of the people in here, your activity, your support, now the legislature intends to make Ohio a right-to-work state. To follow along with Wisconsin, and I think Indiana, and I think, I don't know if Michigan, I think. And so there have been national statistics on those things. And you're getting information on that in the back table and maybe distributed to you on that. AFL-CIO had done some training there earlier in August. And so they gave us some statistics and some numbers and some things to introduce to you that legislature's later push against workers. And those numbers and that information were given to you, and they gave me a project which says I have to try to obtain pledge cards that you and the people I approach fill out those pledge cards to commit to stopping right to work in Ohio, to commit to supporting unionism to some degree, or workers' rights, workers' pay, workers' benefits now. And so those cards will be given to you and distributed to you, and the information will be distributed. And on top of that, the Communications Committee will start a campaign to inform you of those things, to kind of fully inform you. Now what you have is sort of an introduction to the issue. So they're going to start a campaign to inform you. It starts with a flyer you may have. It says "Stop at a stop sign." The campaign is engineered sort of the same way traffic is engineered. It'll be a sort of theme that talks about stopping this, yielding that, don't take a turn here. And so when you see those around campus, and many of you, I hope, will volunteer to distribute that kind of thing around campus, you'll know that that's communication from us from communication team, and they'll have information on people participating to stop, as the first sign says, help to stop that in this state. You'll see things like people or workers generally get lower pay, accidents on the job generally go up, school systems generally get funded less when that legislation is active in your state. And none of those things are positive things for us. And so you'll be getting that information. This morning you'll be card. I'll take questions and answers about it and do the best I can. I think Wayne did his training this week, last in the evening. So he'll be available for questions about the issue as well. But I'd like you all of you, all the people who are here, I'd like all of you to fill out that card for support. So take time to read it and get answers to your questions from it, and we'll do that. The season for Merck is over. The 11th was the last day to turn them in, and all that we had. Kevin Keith, myself, and Marvin, I think, turned in some. I think Miracle turned in some. I'm not sure because she was absent. She was absent at that time. We turn those in and we'll see how many come out. I think the time, maybe not for Merck, but maybe for performance module is probably just about it. I don't think it's been successful, large enough for us to continue in it. It's almost folly. Never did like it. But there were some positive outcomes for some people. We have to find a way to address sharing the money that OSU pulls in. We're not really sharing it the way I think you want us to share. I think that we are sort of left to crumbs from the bountiful table. So I need your help in every way that help can come to look for strategies to do it differently. And so I solicit that help, and I solicit it in writing time. Some people don't like to do that, but I'm older, and even if I wasn't older, the capacity to keep your help verbally, mentally, is difficult. So I want that help in writing. Ideas, thoughts, and assistance from me. In addition to that, we will be starting to assemble next month bargaining team for the OSU contract. Starting early, looking for ideas. Everybody in public works has been attacked in one way or another. Right to work is an attack on public works. Contracting out the parking, it may be the utilities, it may be other departments is kind of attack on workers, public workers. The history of public workers is really, it was supposed to be a sport, not to run a spoil system, so that if you had a Democrat in office or a Republican, no matter who it was, the workforce would be for the people, not for the politicians. And so there was public service sort of created to make sure that the public got served no matter who it was. Somehow, during history, public workers were not paid very much. Almost the only way you can lose a public job, the pay was so low, the way you lost a public job was just don't come to work. Then you just didn't have a job. You got fired. Normally people that quit, they kept it, they needed it. And then unions started from state to state to be able to organize public workers. And what that would do in Ohio was try to catch up public workers to private workers who had already been unionized and then used with benefits, because they weren't going to pay you money, but you kind of had benefits that people wanted, plus the public retirement system, which was like premier. Time has caught up with that. Now we're about even to some of the private workers, even though we believe that our benefits there's so much less than it used to be. Insurance, in the composition of how much it costs and how much it gives you, that they started to attack us. We make too much. We get too much. We shouldn't have a system that supports you being a thriving part of the country's economy. So it started to attack public workers, it started to attack public worker unions and unions in general. And what really dismantled SB5 is, it attacked the protective forces, the first responders, firemen, policemen. And firemen and policemen were normally politically on the conservative side. So I'm not talking about any party, I'm saying on the conservative side. And they kind of went for conservative values, directions, philosophies. But when elements of the conservative side said, you are the same as everybody else, you are a public worker, you're costing municipalities and states too much money, they discovered that they may not be politically conservative. They may be workers like everybody else, regardless of whether they carry a fire hose or a gun. So, the recognition of that particular group of workers, our particular kind of workers, workers that support states, cities, and counties, whether they have a gun or a water hose or not, that view does not help them. It doesn't help them keep a job, it doesn't help them send their kids to school, it doesn't help them keep good health benefits, it doesn't help them with retirement. They said, hey, wait a minute. Now, we're like the rest of you. We're saying you always were like the rest of us. But you just didn't know because the guy came out and said, I'm coming for you too. Might not he had done that, if you make sense out of that phrase, SB5 might have looked different. Right to work, we hope, explodes in the same way because it still doesn't exclude it. And it still has the threat to really degenerate their forces, their power to collectively bargain. So what right, we're supposed to call a so-called right to work, what it really does is it says, hey, you don't have to pay fees to work on that job. And what it does is that if you're in a local or a union, the union or local has to represent you, just like it does for people who pay dues. And if you're getting dues from 7 people, which is an extreme, and none of the fees from the other 8,000 that you're responsible to take care of, that means I can't pay at this level people who answer the phone. I can't pay at this level people keep lights on, a place to operate from. I can't at this level support the activities of your lead chief stewards or your officers. Can't keep it out. I won't have the funds to do it. Maybe. And so what I need you to do is to help spread the gospel that says we need this service at this place. Nothing runs without dues. I'm just going to call them dues. Churches don't exist without dues. They disappear. The church, the community church, could be a good example. What is it, Kevin, like 5 out of 9 churches downtown are being foreclosed on, are being pushed very hard because they don't have the membership. So it's just money. It's not just money, but it is money or capital in which is used to run an organization. Gotta have it. It just has to happen that way. There's a foreclosure looming on Long Street, right? St. Paul, A-N-M-E. Biggest church, no, I take that back. Oldest church, right? In Columbus, Ohio. Not that many members. Church that's old. I don't know what happens to the building. So you know that this is a firehouse. What it would be is an empty house. Right? And so you have to kind of go with the campaign that says we have to stop that movement in this state. We have to stop it in our city, control sort of the politics of the city. A lot of people don't think unions should be involved with politics. Politics really are controlling the union. What we really need to do somehow, I don't know where it comes from, but we have to control the politics of people. We have to have our people understand that you're public workers. It gets you first. It gets you first. Long ago, public workers used to be sort of the tail of the workers' movement. You know, steel workers, iron workers, teamsters. Now, the way you get to the private movement is you kill the public movement. And these kind of legislative sort of pushes are to try to get rid of workers' rights. It's part of the race, and that's why I'm glad that the team is going to use the traffic thing. It's sort of the race to the bottom. Who can be paid the lowest? Why workers don't count. Workers are synonymous with people. We have not yet been replaced by robots. We have not yet come to a place where they don't need workers. Technology takes care of it. And you have to be stern, you have to be vigilant, you have to be aggressive about telling somebody they're trying to cut off your lifeline. Really, it's not sort of dramatic. There are people, there are systems that say you only should be rich, let me take that back, wealthy, and poor. And they're very happy to have you be the poor. I'm not talking about poor where you can't afford a boat. Because some of us, most of us, lots of us are not yet, we're already there. I'm talking about poor where you start to kind of think, can I afford this food? And people believe that, hey, that's what happens in an open economy, and you're in or you're out. And if you're in, by gum, you got a lot of gumption. I believe that the founders of this nation and the spirit of the Constitution says we are supposed to sort of have equal opportunity. And so it's not about what you can't get. To me, the fight is keeping opportunity equal, because the economy that people like to say that we're in sort of serves to, you can take people's opportunity and call that good business. So defunding of unions in the state, the defunding of workers that have capital to kind of flow inside the economy is really saying, hey, ain't going to be no opportunity from you unless I give it to you. I, people can change. You know, big investment firms. You got to fight against that. They're coming after you. You don't have to do a whole lot, but you got to know it, believe it, talk it, preach it, encourage that, hey, they're coming after us. And the way they start almost always now is by public workers. Public systems. For over 20 years, because you know I'm young, they have been trying to get to the civil service in public works. Civil service has provided a system that is fair, that is productive, that gives opportunity to people in the workplace where you get by your skills and your knowledge, not by who your buddy is. For more than 20 years, they have been chopping. Part of the attack, the offensive. So that hasn't stopped either. That so-called right to work is a part of that offensive. A few of us have to fight it. We've committed resource to fight it through education and information. We'll keep doing that. And any ideas that you have on that, what makes you stop and listen and look at work? What makes you stop and listen and look in the community? We need your ideas of what the things are to catch your attention so we can apply them to this campaign. So that almost every single person we have can sign that card, and we get that to the politician. So politics has to be a part of unionism. Unionism has to be a part of our aggressive stance, and more than just talking about it, has to be a part of what happens. And we've been working on those kinds of things this summer, including negotiating contracts, which we still in one for the Franklin County Veterans Service Office. So we have a lot of units for which we're still trying to represent for, and we're still negotiating for. And so we're going to be busy all the way up through the political election season. Everything affects it. Everything really affects you. And since there's 9, 11 of you, 13, you know, I always call you the faithful few. And it's fine. You have to have a faithful few. You have to have a nucleus in which the rest of the movement grows. For us, we need to grow. We need to grow. And if we're small enough that we get all tangled up in fire, what they call them, little firefights, skirmishes, because it does something for us, right? A win kind of does something for the rest of the group, but we're going to have to look further out, reach further up in order to attain a mass kind of movement. So that's what we're going to try to do, and that's what we've been doing this summer, working on this. Have you had, while I've been talking, have you had a chance to look at August and September, July, August, and September? We'll hook up the microphone system to next week. Questions, comments? Yes. Let me get Lynn, she's first, then I'll get to you. Yes, ma'am.
This right to work, is that going to be on the this November
Ballot? I am not sure that it's going to be on this November's ballot, but it will be on there as soon as possible. Yeah, they're kind of not ready yet.
Okay.
But we're starting now.
Okay. All right, I got you.
Well, I've just been told we're starting now. I have to start now. Wayne, did you get information about this November's ballot?
As far as the November's ballot, I'm not really for sure myself too. It could be, I doubt it'd be on this November's ballot, but probably the following November's ballot as far as the next election.
Okay.
Don't quote me on it.
Kevin? I what? Because you said you weren't sure. Kevin?
It may not actually be on the ballot at all, as far as November is concerned. In some states where it's actually just been passed by legislative office. So we have to be very careful on paying attention what laws are introduced and what laws are voting on. It can happen without ever being a vote. So if we're not paying attention to what is being properly inside the bill that happens inside the State House, we just look up and we are like to work state. And so that's how come your political activity is extremely important. So we have to pay attention, know what bills are coming, what is in the bills. That's how it was done in Indiana, Michigan, and some other states already passed this legislative without there ever being a vote. So we have to pay attention to what's being properly each and every bill to make sure that we don't get caught in that particular fashion.
And our governor, who appears a little goofy and aloof, is probably one of the smartest governors around of all the others. He's been around a long time. He went to Ohio State. He quit school to go work with the Nixon campaign. And over the years, he has finally got his way up to be governor. He's a smart guy. He would probably do it without a vote.
Right.
You know. And so your activity to the legislators, and your activity in kind of changing it, which he knows, if you change the legislature, you change his political power in that sort of attack on workers. I mean, they have majorities in both houses of the state, I think I heard something like super majority. That's got to change. Everything has to have balance. Even a relationship got to have balance. A relationship that's 80-20 ain't going to work. That 20 is either going to revolt or just leave. And we have to do something about that too. I'm not supposed, and I didn't say who, what. Everybody knows who's what. And you don't have to get rid of a majority party because of their philosophy. But you have to extricate those who don't help you and know who they are. The FLCIO will be giving us information. I will get that straight to the communication team. The communication team will let you know in all the ways they do. If you've seen their poster, they have 14 ways of contact. Hopefully, we have members who can pick up one. 1 out of 14. If they can pick up 1 out of 14, they have been so informed. Martin, Mr. Newman, I'm sorry.
Yeah, on this so-called right to vote work, we're allowed to take these on the job and
I'm not sure. I'll know before it's too late, but right this minute I'm not sure. But I do absolutely, without category, want you to fill it out today, if you have one. Even if you don't have one, get one.
All right, I'll teach you how mine go down.
Question, comment, concern. Mr. Lesher.
Yeah, thanks for the great President's report. If people knew the good work that's done here and the effort that's put into it, we have a lot of membership here and people fully participating in the local. It's wonderful, and even though you say you need things in writing to help you pull things together as you get older, that was a great report. I agree with every word of it, and I'm glad to hear it. People are lucky to be in a union where somebody's pulling it together and giving that kind of report. But what I was going to say about SB 5 and the Right to Work campaigns, one of the problems with it and one of the reasons we're stymied in the effort is we're spread thin. On the one hand, there's an employer's offensive that we very definitely feel on campus. On the other hand, there's a well-financed nationwide effort to bust unions. And people just want to step aside from that crap. They don't want to be involved in politics if they can help it. They want to lay low, so they're stymied by the employer's offensive on the one hand and this kind of political government thing on the other. So I was going to suggest as a solution, and maybe our communications community or committee could work on this. One thing that'd be great is, that's a great t-shirt you have on. And it says, CWA, organized, the colors are right, it's perfect. Oh, yeah, nice.
I'm big enough, it's like a movie screen. You but I like the back better than I like the front.
But where... That's great. I like both sides of it. You know, I'm really glad that our communications committee is involved in it because that personalizes it enough and brings it to campus close enough to where if we had those t-shirts everywhere we go with whatever we're going to distribute as literature, people might realize this is a union I want to be a part of because I'm progressive in my thinking. I don't want to go down the road of anarchy that employers have financed and prepared for unions. This is something I support whether I'm in the union or not. Because no matter how right we are about the right to work or SB 5 or any of that, unless we have backing, unless we have organizing, we're not going to beat back the predators that are in the stores area, for example. Man, it's turned to a toxic work environment at the stores area. I'm working on my 4th injury now, and if people are reading my emails, on occasion, you know what I'm up against, and I try to commentate a little bit, but even that is a small peep against the thunder we're getting. So I think the communications piece of it is going to be critical, and the lockup with organizing has to be there, or they will come to kill us. Unions, even in their heyday, people don't realize they were only 35% of the workforce. Now I think they're probably down to
7 or 8.
So there are people who want to kill the rest of us. And, you know, when they were streamlining supervisors on main campus, they did the opposite on West Campus. They hired and paid well top dog supervisors who were there basically conducting a campaign John Kasich or Governor Walker from Wisconsin would be proud of. They're predators. So and people want to lay low when they see that, they are frightened. People get threatened. We agreed to merit pay and a MERT panel to avoid a grievance process that management have branded as adversarial. Now these managers have stepped up and they want to be adversarial about the MERT panel or your annual increase. And it's a pittance compared to the increases they're handing out to people they like. They want favoritism and employment at will instead of a classification system. And they're determined to get it. They've got the titles and pay to do it. And they'll surround themselves with zombies to do it. They don't care because they'll police the anarchy they'll create. They'll make Columbus into Detroit. So, I didn't want to talk that long, but...
Well, that's long enough, and not off the subject. Because, Kevin, help me a little bit, I see you, Wayne. When you talk about a strategy, it's a 50-year strategy. Really, it's a strategy to get away from Social Security. What millionaire cares about Social Security? What billionaire cares about Social Security? Who cares about it? The per-hour worker. There's an organization called ALEC. Some of you know, some of you don't know. It was started about 30 years ago. I can't remember what that acronym means. What does it mean, Kevin? Do you remember? What it is private industry having an effect on public works. And that's what they do. They just do it. They've had it for 30 years. And they've had a strategy, a 100-year strategy, really. If they get there quicker than 100 years, great. But they intend to get there. And they intend to get there with strategies like you talked about. A well-organized international association who was founded in part by a guy named John Casey. And his determination was to affect government and privatization and get profiteering out of it. Are well organized. This is an international organization. And when something's going on in Wisconsin or Michigan, Ohio, this group sends money. This group meets, this group supports a strategy that is international. And so I'm telling you, and I want you to listen to David when he's saying, you know, you think about the Secretary of State's office, you think about Ohio State, Pickaway County, and you have your own circumstance, the whole country's against you. Not the whole country. This gang of millionaires and financiers and stuff are against you. They want to take everything away from you. They don't care. It doesn't matter to them. And it's a little bit un-American, really. If the founding and the spirit of the Constitution is equal opportunity, they do not believe in that. They do not believe in that. You don't have to have the training that they have. I don't kind of really believe that you got to have the same a millionaire has. I don't believe that. But you have to have the opportunity to become a millionaire. You have to have the opportunity to eat, to leisure, and to work. Those things don't mean nothing to them about us. And it is sort of symbolized or actualized in things like so-called right to work. They're telling you that's the way we are. Thank you, Kevin. ALEC is American Legislative Exchange Council. So they work hard to make laws to make it harder for you. John Casey is one of the founders. I had to go to Wayne, Kevin, and Miracle. Maybe Miracle's first. She went back and said bad hat on, but I didn't see it.
Just to let you know, before you have these flyers here, so-called right work. And this right here, 888-673-6510. Call John Casey's office, tell him to reject like
And that's what ALEC and the funders of that kind of legislative motion, so-called right to work, really does. Miracle.
Mine was a question, mine was more of a thank you. I don't know if everybody knows, I've been off for 6 weeks on the medical leave, and I just wanted to thank Mr. Newman, Stephanie, Rich, Kevin, and Carol, Jason, for stepping in to do
my job that I wasn't able to do for last year.
It took all of us to do it. And I don't know that we did it particularly well, especially me, but, you know, we value Miracle Service. She really, really means it. Every month, while she is working, I'm saying you're doing too much. You have to slow down, you got to pace yourself, you're doing too much. But she puts her whole heart into it. You know, if I had needed to be converted to something, she'd probably convert me just by watching her work. And so, as a matter of fact, we're still fighting about that. David? Okay. David?
Speaking of work and filling in for Miracle, over the summer break, I'd like to thank the local for the representation I got. I have particularly difficult management. Even going through a PEOC hearing, I never did get mutually agreeable exceeds goals set by management, but I think the reason I got the apportioned amount for the merit increase in my area was because of union intervention. Terrell Davis was heavily involved. I think I had the most outstanding union representation from Terrell ever at a first level meeting. It didn't go the way we wanted ultimately, but that's not the kind of fight we're in. I think management always wins most of our fights, but the point is that we fight. And I wanted to say one more thing about SB 5 and Right to Work campaigns. The trickery of it is that management and supervisors who are in a position to do much more damage than legislators are emboldened by the legislative stuff. The Tea Party, the Republicans, all these right-wing groups like ALEC are bullied front people for employers who are in a great position to assault employees. And they're dreaming about that in the OSU stores area. Don't think I'm not wrong about that. We've had temporaries working in there. They aren't posting and filling in accordance with Article 14. We've had decent temporaries, well integrated on the job, filling union functions. They've been there for 18 months, some of them. And they're nice people that you would like, that we would love to have on union members. Management, apart from legislators and all those people who are trying to assault and kill organized labor, employers have the main offensive going against organized labor. And I received excellent representation during the break from the local, and I just want to say thanks for that. I appreciate it. I'm a tough guy to represent. I don't believe employers should even be here. I think workers should run the show. We should go for self-governance. And I'm a tough guy to represent because I don't change my tune around management. They're coming for me from the word goes. So thanks for all the help from staff and everybody. I appreciate it.
You know, the office staff is still working all summer long. You might not have that monthly meeting, but those 5 days in between, office staff is still working, generating paper, getting timely documents here and there. It's still happening, and I appreciate you talking.
And I got an untimely document too, by the way. Once in a while there's some errors and stuff.
You're getting those documents.
It's not all good.
One of our primary pushes is that we try to communicate with people. You know, we've tried to do that over the years, and Mike, as a matter of fact, some people may not know, Mike has a position that Mike and I created. You know, like the editor, communication team chair. We created that because we knew there was a communication gap. And I think that's gone very well. The communication team, which includes Sheila, who's administrative secretary, and Lily, who's office manager, it includes them as part of that team. We wouldn't have that. Lee Paul, who is a past member on that team, and he's sort of the creative engine of that. They wouldn't have those 14 points of contact. And maybe some of those points were there already, like you can call on the telephone. Okay. But sometimes you need to be reminded that you can do that, that's out there. So 14 different reasons, again, 14 different ways that we try to stay in touch. And there's a couple that aren't on the form that we didn't talk about. You know, Mr. Newman and I, yesterday were out in the parking lot talking to somebody about their issue. No, it wasn't yesterday, it was Wednesday. Talking about issues, looking at grievances, making that, you know, kind of assessment on what we need to do. And that's not on there, there would be 15, you know. But at least there's 14 core ways to kind of do that. And so we keep pushing forward, trying to get this job done with the resources we have. You know, Cynthia and May, both officers, the Secretary of State, try to be an on-site resource for people to contact and get calls. They do meetings, it all happens. But anyhow, we still have to do better. We still have to do more. We're still in the fight. We have not yet given up. I will not ever give up. Because I'm kind of an asshole anyhow. You know, I just really, you know, I feel it and believe it to the bottom of my heart. I hate bullies. I hate bullies, and to me, a lot of our employers are bullies. And it's almost fun for me.
You're right.
It's almost fun, well, that's not quite true. It's fun for me to kick a bully right up to their testicles and ovaries. I just hate it. And so part of this job to me is fighting that for equality and fairness and equity. Part of it is that I don't necessarily like so much of the administrative part. It's just part of what happens and what you do. I think one of, you know, and Dave will know that I mean this because I remember that. I've forgotten it for 5 years. Somebody called me a union official and I got mad. I thought, well, what the hell? I'm not a union official. Of course I'm a union official. But I'm saying, shit, I'm a fighter. I'm a scrapper. I'm an asshole. I'm not necessarily a union official, but I'm a union official. But I want to fight for the things that hurt you, that affect you, that happens to you. And all of our stores and all of our staff feel the same way. I mean, if I was really, really smart, I'd probably just send Lolita out there. She was like those old movies. You know, they drag the victims back. She would come back to the hall. There's one there. But I need her skills otherwise. And so this whole conglomeration of people are all advocates. I love that Wayne Crawford is in the same area as Amos Jones.
Oh, gosh.
I believe in student life. I believe that Lynn Hornegay was born to be with Amos Jones. So that every time he kicked, she bit. Because she just does that quite naturally. You know, Lynn went on a diatribe telling Amos she had been the victim of many atrocities and abuses. Did she really think she cared about him? He was nothing compared. I love that happened. And to me, it happened under the direction of a higher power, not the direction of my genius. And as a matter of fact, somebody was mad at me once and said, you know, I used to think he was a genius. I think maybe it was supposed to be an insult. And I said, now you know the truth. It ain't happening. And it's okay. But I hope that we will continue to be in the fight. No matter how many losses, no how many draws, and no matter how many victories. You can't look back at the victories, you have to push forward. Continue to be in the fight.
Right.
And that's the spirit in which we were going to attack the so-called right to work and the things that we do. Yes.
2 reasons that haven't been mentioned to be optimistic in spite of all this fear and predation stuff, besides competent staff, which you're really right about. And when I mentioned Terrell, I'm not just yanking the chain here.
Yeah.
Terrell and I went on one-on-one with management. We kind of tag team wrestled them. These guys make 3 times the money either of us do, and are determined to be feared. And we took them apart. It was like TV wrestling, very spontaneous. And it was a good time, just like what you're describing. So you're not the only person on staff who hates bullies, and we rely on that. But the other things to be optimistic about, in spite of all the fear they're trying to create and assaults on labor, is we outnumber management by a long shot. And sometimes they look more organized because they're a small group with all the capital and lots of money gleaned from operations. But we produce the wealth that they've got, and we outnumber them by a long shot. That's one thing. The other thing I'm trying to remember, because my mind's kind of going here. Well, that's one of them, and it's an important one. Unions are way outnumber management, We have, the other thing is very important, I've complained about it in my emails. We haven't yet begun to fight. Unions haven't really established that collaborative thing they've got going. I mean, the AFL-CIO is a big group and they do wonderful stuff and they work with the legislature, but they haven't really established that collaborative connection with local rank and file members. Once that collaboration is going, and I remember Dr. Martin Luther King has a book called Why We Can't Wait, and he talks about it not being his charisma or his intelligence that made the movement go. Those were important factors. What he thought it was it was the 100-year anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. And everybody in society at the time he was active realized slavery isn't over yet. We're getting robbed here. And Dr. King thought that he was riding that wave, and I think he's correct. I think once you start collaborating with people at the membership level, and then you have this staff that hates bullies, a bunch of assholes there fighting with management, I think that's when society gets going, as we were going during the civil rights movement or the anti-Vietnam War movement. And I think everybody topside in unions is hoping for that while they're kind of fanning their charisma, wondering if they're okay. They're waiting for the membership to get going, which is...
And the anti-poverty movement.
Yeah, that's another one.
Absolutely.
Okay, just one order.
It is, we started at 7:40, something like that. It's 8:55, right? And so I need a motion to either continue the meeting or to continue the meeting, have the drawing, and release it. Do I have a motion of either kind?
Say it again.
Need a motion to continue the meeting. I can't hear you. Yes, continue to extend the meeting, or to extend the meeting for the purpose of doing the drawing. Do I have a motion? Lynn?
I have a motion to extend the meeting for the drawing.
Okay. Do I have a second to that motion? Wayne, Stephanie Johnson. Wayne Crawford, Stephanie Johnson. All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Has everybody filled out their cards?
Yes.
She said yes as everybody.
Aye.
Please fill out the pledge card before you leave. All opposed of the same sign, motion is passed. We'll have the drawing, whatever form it's in.
Anyone need to borrow a pen? You is?
I'm telling you, put mine in there for the hat. We need a hat run.
For $50, the name is Stephanie Johnson. Oh, that's not her for real. Stephanie Pinkney Johnson. Stephanie left the room. Stephanie Pinkney Johnson.
That's crazy.
I'm glad I did her.
The bucket. It's gone.
Okay, pick me.
Come on up there.
Come on,
pick
pick me. Use that name when you out at the dance. Pick
Pick
me.
me, pick me.
For $50?
Yes.
$50.
Fern!
Hey,
Fern, me two more. And as far as I know, we'll have breakfast and such accoutrements at the next meeting. Good? Dave Lesher! He's gone. He's gone. What? It's Marvin. Marvin Newman just left.
Let me say it, I think I picked up that.
Yeah, you already.
I don't care what y'all do.
Y'all put another name?
Yeah.
Oh, we had the right name.
Both?
Dwayne Jones?
No, come on up.
He left, he don't want his money.